And emotion is an essential part of imagination. And the point of being a historian is to find out something else. And you need imagination to know where to look.
Yeah.
One of the reasons I've managed to find out so much stuff and unearth so much material is that I had to think about it. I didn't wait until somebody sort of came up with the information.
But still to this day, do historians believe that they should not be emotional?
I don't think they do, because the great influx of family historians, who are equally historians, you know, tracing the entire history of a single family, and it's usually theirs. So there's bound to be emotion in that. You find out who the good guys and the bad guys are.
But again, what makes a good guy and what makes a bad guy? The historian's individual
yeah, I mean,
likes and dislikes.
yeah, I know where you're coming from, but the thing is, can you be unemotional about Hitler? Do you take an unemotional
What's the difference between Hitler and Bush?
None, as far as I'm concerned.
Same with me.
Yeah. I'm standing in High Street, Weston-super-Mare. 50 years ago this used to be Union Street. 100 years ago it used to be Gas Street. I'm standing outside the Pig and Truffle pub. You better come in. We've got something to tell you. The landlord in 1888 was William Millard. And there's a tale to be told. You better come with me.
Soul jacker can't get my soul. Ate my carcass in a black manhole. Soul jacker can't get my soul. He can shoot me up full of bullet holes, but the soul jacker can't get my soul.
In 1888, they had an octagonal room made where we are now. And they wanted to get in touch with the spirit world. They wanted to be closer friends with Jesus. They wanted to work on various spells which made them, well, they thought, made them invisible. Benjamin Cox from Lyncham was an accountant with Tom Poole as a partner. Then he became the town accountant for Weston-super-Mare for over 35 years. Grove House was the Weston home of the Smith Piggott Squires of Weston. They were very much into this. One of them was so taken with the Egyptology of it, he built sphinxes and pyramids up at his main estate in Brockley. Unfortunately, he was taken away by it. His mind was not quite up to the intricacies of all this. He went on holiday having had a nervous breakdown to Ceylon. One paper said he died of influenza, another said he fell off the boat. I never really had the time to check which is which. I must do that someday. But they were members of this organisation, and a perfect example of how it isn't always a good idea to get mixed up in this kind of thing. Edward Smith Nunn, the proprietor and principal of the college school in Weston-super-Mare and of the King's Square School in Bristol, was one of the major intellects in Weston-super-Mare, a very highly respected man. He was one of the original members of the Golden Dawn as well. William Frampton came to Weston as a printer. He married the daughter of Mr. Dare, the printer who ran the Western Mercury, and he became the editor of the Western Mercury. He also joined the Golden Dawn and worked in there for over 50 years, overlooked by the figure of St. Q, which was nice.
And so maybe it was his wife who died after him who chose this one for him.
Oh yes, surely.
So whosoever liveth and believeth in me shall never die,
Yeah.
St. John says.
I think that's a fairly common one, as I recall. You'll find that on a few graves up here.
So how many's on the list? Do you pay extra? Do you pay extra for more letters?
This is the last resting place of Mr. James Capel, Lord of the Manor of Ashcombe. I presume he was probably the last Lord of the Manor of Ashcombe. Once again, a very respected gentleman. Lived in Ashcombe House, which later became a maternity unit. A great philanthropist in Weston. Local solicitor with his brother, John. They did a lot of good. And I really find it so hard to understand why people like this gentleman of great stature and respectability get sucked in to something like the Order of the Golden Dawn. I'm having to use notes this time because I'm talking about Henry Butt, first Charter Mayor of Weston, 1937. I can't remember all the things he did. He was a dunce at school, but he was running the Somerset Trading Company by the time he was 18 years old. He left there, formed his own Western Trading Company and undercut his previous bosses. He became the first captain of the fire brigade and negotiated a 100% pay rise, which made him exceedingly popular. He was a councillor for 25 years, first ever free man of Weston-super-Mare. He was the first Westonian ever to develop properties into flats. He had hundreds of flats and made a total fortune. He was very impressed by Adolf Hitler and kept coming back here in 1938 and saying so. I'm standing in the yard he used to use. It used to be full of his horses and carts. The building behind me was his headquarters. Nobody quite knew much about Henry's early days, but they found an old list in the Three Queens in 1947 about the ancient Order of Zoosimites, a precursor of the Order of the Golden Dawn. Henry Butt and his organisation, the Golden Dawn, met in secret, talked in secret, worked in secret. No question of the fact that he did all sorts of good things for Weston-super-Mare as a town, but if he did them now he'd be in prison. He joined up with Mr. Radicott and Mr. Curtis, two other councillors, to form the ABC Syndicate. They manipulated contracts on the town and made all sorts of money from that. They said they would develop things and they didn't. They put in to develop on St. John's playing field and were paid not to. They thought that was a good idea. So they put in to develop on what's now Weston Golf Club and didn't because they were paid not to. They tried the same trick on the Winter Garden site, all sorts of problems with that. He tried to get the town to pay for the damage his steamrollers caused going down the roads. Good God, I've even got a thing at home which shows how he wanted to take all the trees out of Weston Woods, every single tree, south and north, and develop both sides of the hill with Italianate villas. It didn't look very nice. He was paid not to do it, and so he didn't, which is very nice of him. He lies here now as one of Weston's legends. Some people think he's St. Henry of Butt. Some people think he was a terrible human being. I'll give him the benefit of being a character. Perhaps that's not a bad thing. Perhaps we could do with a few more of those to get things moving again.